afternoon, I'm Mai Rodriguez. Today on Newsfeed at noon, an intensifying trade war triggered by U.S. President Donald Trump, but the American leader defending his policies amid fears of global disruption. The daughter of Bilyonaryo aviation king Archie Po dies after the helicopter she was piloting crashed in Nueva Ecija. Luka Doncic thanking the Dallas Mavericks in an emotional statement after getting traded to the Los Angeles Lakers. And the winners in this year's Grammy Awards. Thanks for joining us. Barely 2 weeks in office, and U.S. President Donald Trump has managed to disrupt the global economy. The trade war he started heating up as Canada, Mexico, and China retaliate with plans to impose their own tariffs on American imports. Trump now admits the additional levies may cause pain for American consumers. He will soon be speaking with the leaders of Canada and Mexico. But Trump says he's not keen on rescinding the new tariffs, which will be imposed Tuesday.
I wouldn't say there's a timeline, but it's going to be pretty soon. No, I'm not concerned. We may have short-term a little pain, and people understand that. But long-term, the United States has been ripped off by virtually every country in the world. We have deficits with almost every country. Not every country, but almost. And we're going to change it. It's been unfair. That's why we owe $36 trillion. We have deficits with everybody. We help everybody. We've been helping everybody for years. And to be honest, I don't think they appreciate it. So we're going to change that. We're going to change it fast. We're going to make America great again. I'm speaking with Prime Minister Trudeau tomorrow morning, and I'm also speaking with Mexico tomorrow morning. And I don't expect anything very dramatic. We put tariffs on. They owe us a lot of money, and I'm sure they're going to pay.
So far, Canada says it will impose its own tariffs on a raft of U.S. imports, from fruits and vegetables down to toilet papers. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau also warning Americans Trump's actions will have real consequences for them.
Like the American tariffs, our response will also be far-reaching and include everyday items such as American beer, wine, and bourbon, fruits and fruit juices, including orange juice, along with vegetables, perfume, clothing, and shoes. It'll include major consumer products like household appliances, furniture, and sports equipment, and materials like lumber and plastics, along with much, much more. And as part of our response, we are considering, with the provinces and territories, several non-tariff measures, including some relating to critical minerals, energy, procurement, and other partnerships. As I've said before, if President Trump wants to usher in a new golden age for the United States, the better path is to partner with Canada, not to punish us.
Canada's ambassador to the U.S. still hoping Trump will take back his order. But Ambassador Kirsten Hillman asserts Canada's government will stand up for itself. She's also making it clear a trade war is in nobody's interest.
Our message is this is not something that Canada wants to do. This is not a path that we are interested in going down. We are actually interested in being and continuing to be your best customer. We buy more from you than any other country on the planet, and we love our American products. So we support 8 million jobs in the United States through the exports that you send to us. Let's keep that going and let's build on that. Let's not diminish it.
Mexico's president also doubling down on their pushback against Trump's tariffs. President Claudia Sheinbaum insists her government has sought dialogue rather than confrontation with its top trade partner. She also warns the U.S. president's policy may backfire on America's economy. Sheinbaum has ordered retaliatory tariffs in response to Trump's decision to slap a 25% tariff on all goods coming from Mexico. The Mexican leader rejects as slander the White House's allegation that drug cartels have an alliance with the Mexican government, a point being used by the Trump administration to justify the tariffs.
Our government has seized more than 40 tons of drugs in 4 months, including 20 million doses of fentanyl. It has also arrested more than 10,000 people linked to these groups. We have a strategy, we address the causes, and we fight impunity. Every day we work for the security of the country. Mexico does not want confrontation. We start from the collaboration between neighboring countries. Mexico not only does not want fentanyl to reach the United States, but it does not want it to reach anywhere. Therefore, if the United States wants to fight criminal groups and wants us to do it jointly, we must work in an integral way. To our Mexican brothers in the United States, I want to tell you that here is your president and an entire people to defend you. If you wish to return to Mexico, here we embrace you.
Japan says it is deeply concerned about the possible repercussions on global trade of Trump's sweeping tariffs. In an interview with Japanese media, Finance Minister Katsunobu Kato stressed the need to thoroughly assess the impact on the foreign exchange market. He said Japan would need to scrutinize Trump's policies and take appropriate measures. In another drastic measure, the U.S. cutting off funding for South Africa. Without citing evidence, President Trump claims certain classes of people in the country are being treated very badly. He adds South Africa is confiscating land. Trump says he will halt all future funding to the country until a full investigation of the issue is completed. In 2023, the U.S. obligated nearly $440 million in assistance to the African nation. Trump's close ally, Elon Musk, was born in South Africa. An update now on the last week's deadly mid-air plane collision in Washington, D.C. Officials say 55 of the 67 people killed in the tragedy have been positively identified. Today, the Army Corps of Engineers will begin significant salvage operations to remove the wreckage from the Potomac River. The wreckage will be moved to a hangar at Washington Reagan National Airport. The tragedy happened Wednesday when an American Airlines passenger jet and a military helicopter collided and crashed into the river. Among the fatalities, a Philippine National Police official. The cause of the incident remains unknown. Meantime, much of the Potomac River remains off limits.
I think we've done everything to set the conditions for a successful lift starting tomorrow morning. We anticipate that we'll start at first light. Right now, if you look out in the Potomac, you'll see that all of our equipment and personnel are in place. We've completed our rehearsals, and all the processes that I talked about previously have been rehearsed to a T with all of our joint partners. As we go through that, when we begin the lift process tomorrow, our goal is to really lift as much as we can, given the fact that we are also accounting for the human remains component. And then our goal is to then transfer those pieces of equipment over to a flatbed trailer that will now take it over to a designated hangar so that the investigation can begin.
It is my belief that we're going to recover everyone. If we knew where they were, though, we would already have them out. So we have some work to do as the salvage operation goes on, and we will absolutely stay here and search until such point as we have everybody.
An investigation also underway in another U.S. plane tragedy, this time in Philadelphia. 7 people were killed when a medical evacuation plane crashed into a neighborhood near the Roosevelt Mall. Among the fatalities was on the ground and had just been in a car at the site of the incident. As authorities continue to investigate the area, business owners and residents are expressing worries.
It's kind of shutting down everything in our little community right here. And it's sad because now employees aren't working, so they're losing money. The businesses aren't making the money. It's just very sad. It looks like the cleanup's going to take quite a while.
There's so many food stores that are established over there that they all compete against each other, and I don't think some of them are going to survive to reopen, to rebuild and stuff like that. Unless the community can help out, which is very possible.
Over in Houston, more than 100 people were evacuated from a plane at an airport runway due to flames coming from an engine. No one was injured in the incident, which took place Sunday morning at George Bush Intercontinental Airport. The United Airlines plane was due to depart for New York's LaGuardia Airport. The Federal Aviation Administration is investigating the incident. Here at home, the daughter of Bilyonaryo aviation king Archie Po dies after the helicopter she was piloting crashed in Nueva Ecija. The incident took place Saturday while 25-year-old Julia Flori Monzon Po was flying back to Manila after dropping Senator Bato de la Rosa in Baguio City. Her Robinson R-44 light helicopter went down in a swamp in Barangay San Miguel, Guimba. Initial investigations show Po struggled for 2 hours with engine issues before taking off from Binalonan, Pangasinan. Her body is currently at the Heritage Memorial Park in Taguig. 2 Chinese Coast Guard ships are spotted off Pangasinan. The Philippine Coast Guard says the Chinese vessels were seen 34 nautical miles from the province. The PCG immediately deployed aircraft to issue a radio challenge, but the Chinese vessels did not respond. 2 Philippine vessels were sent to monitor Bolinao Town. On Saturday, the BRP Teresa Magbanwa drove away a Chinese Coast Guard ship from the coast of Zambales, but it was soon replaced with China's so-called monster ship. The Coast Guard says they are closely monitoring and guarding the area, which is around 115 nautical miles away from Zambales' coast. Senators today are scheduled to look into the enhanced guidelines for the Ayuda para sa Kapos ang Kita program, or AKAP. To recall, the program was a topic of controversy during talks on the 2025 budget. Let's get details from Agatha Gregorio reporting live from Pasay. Agatha, what are these enhanced guidelines for?
Mai AKAP is one of the programs placed under conditional implementation by President Bongbong Marcos. And so the Social Welfare Department, the Labor Department, and the National Economic and Development Authority are expected to create guidelines on implementation. Questions were earlier raised about AKAP being likened to pork barrel allocations. But lawmakers also defended the cash assistance initiative, saying it is for minimum wage and near-poor Filipinos who deserve aid as well. The Budget Department expected the guidelines to be finalized by January, with DSWD Chief Rex Gatchalian saying these would address concerns that AKAP may be exploited for the midterm elections. According to the DSWD, the guidelines have been submitted to the Office of the President. Senator Amy Marcos, who is presiding over today's hearing, previously proposed to realign funding for AKAP to a similar program, Assistance to Individuals in Crisis Situation, or AICS. Senator Marcos also later suggested simply combining the two. The lawmaker also clarified she is not anti-AKAP, she simply wants a clearer system for the program. Mai?
Agatha, remind us, how much is allotted for this controversial program under the 2025 budget?
Mai AKAP has a 26 billion peso budget for 2025, and it is expected to help around 5 million Filipinos. Assistance for the program includes funeral, medical, food, and more. Back to you, Mai.
Thank you, Agatha Gregorio reporting. Now the news today marks the 80th anniversary of the Battle of Manila, a pivotal and tragic event during World War II. Our reporter Hannah T attended a commemoration ceremony in the capital earlier, and she joins us now for details. Hannah, go ahead.
The city government of Manila led the wreath-laying ceremony at the St. Vincent grounds of Adamson University, with Mayor Honey Lacuna in attendance. Diplomatic representatives from the U.S., Canada, Spain, Japan, Australia, Mexico, and the United Kingdom also participated in the event. It was in 1945 when Allied forces entered the city to liberate it from Japanese occupation. For a month, intense fighting took place, resulting in the death deaths of about 100,000 individuals and the widespread destruction of historic landmarks. Today, Adamson University, one of the buildings damaged during the battle, hosted this year's commemoration.
The bravery and heroism and the positive values that they have imparted are essential for us to further grow and develop. That is why we, as a city, commit to making certain that this tragic part of our history will never be forgotten.
Also present were officials from the Armed Forces of the Philippines, the Veterans Federation of the Philippines, and the National Historical Commission. Following the ceremony, a program continued at a tent in St. Vincent Lawn Tennis Court, along with a breakfast reception featuring a performance by the Adamson Acoustic Band. The event also features an exhibit named Echoes of Valor, Adamson University and the Legacy of the Battle for Manila, which highlights the sacrifices made during one of the most devastating urban battles of World War II. Back to you, Mai.
Thank you, Hannah T. reporting. We're taking a break. Up ahead, an iconic Mercedes raced by Sterling Moss and Juan Manuel Fangio becomes the most expensive Formula One car sold at auction. That and more when Newsfeed at Noon returns.
This is The Scorecard, where you score the latest sports news and in-depth views. I'm Anton Rojas. Welcome dito sa BNC Studios. How are you feeling?
Join him together with different sports personalities and have a healthy sports conversation that will help you to know them even better.
In the Philippines, everybody loves community.
We can say that you got hooked. The Scorecard, where sports is our business and business is our sport, right here on the Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Nagbabalik ang Usapang Bilyonaryo. We kick off Season 3 with an exclusive.
This is your first on-cam interview?
It is. I've been in Aboitiz Power for 15 years now. I rose through the ranks.
Danel Aboitiz, President and CEO of Aboitiz Power, is now at the helm, steering the company's growth and shaping the future of energy in the Philippines.
When did it start to turn a profit? I mean, of course, in the beginning.
Immediately, actually.
Oh, really?
I must say. It was a profitable business with an inherently low operating cost.
Get a rare inside look at the mind of a true billionaire. The vision, the passion, the drive. Usapang Bilyonaryo, where ambition and success meet. Don't miss the pilot episode, Mondays, 8:30 p.m., only on the Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Magandang gabi, ako po si Pinky Webb.
At ako naman si Corina Sanchez Rojas. Simulan na natin ang agenda.
Pinati ni Pangulong BBM si Donald Trump sa kanyang inaugurasyon bilang 47th President of the United States.
Papatigil ni US President Donald Trump sa birthright citizenship. Excited na ang American pop rock band na Maroon 5 sa kanilang pagbabalik sa Pilipinas. Sa bawat issue may anggulo at ang balita may agenda.
You're back on Newsfeed at noon. Oil prices are set for a mixed movement this week. Gasoline will increase by 70 centavos per liter. Diesel will go down by more than a peso, while kerosene will have a rollback of 90 centavos per liter. The Energy Department has said factors for the adjustment include an increase in US oil inventory and continued uncertainty surrounding President Trump's tariff threats. Meralco denies overcharging 100 billion pesos among its consumers. That's after Senator Risa Ontiveros called on the power distributor to refund the supposed overcharge before they could be given a franchise renewal. On Bilyonaryo News Channel's Follow the Money, Meralco spokesperson Joe Zaldariaga says they had submitted a 19 billion peso refund proposal to the Energy Regulatory Commission. Once it pushes through, the refund will pan out for the next 3 years.
The call for 100 billion has absolutely no basis as far as we are concerned, because the order that emanates from the ERC simply stated what will be the actual rates that we have to plow back given the rate recess process that did not happen. So prior to this 19 billion, we actually already refunded close to 50 billion pesos. So if you will add both, if there will be an order again for this 19 billion, that will total already almost 70 billion. But the 100 billion, absolutely, for the record, has no basis because there is no such order.
Watch the interview on Follow the Money later at 4:30 p.m. The Philippine Egg Board Association assures the public there's no egg shortage for the year. That's after Agriculture Secretary Francisco Tiu Laurel forecasts a shortage of eggs by April. He said farm gate prices inches down to 4 pesos per piece due to overproduction in 2024, which prompted producers to slaughter their chickens to offset losses. But PEBA President Francis Uyehara tells Bilyonaryo News Channel's Business 360 producers started to repopulate in preparation for December last year.
Last December, as you can remember, the price already stabilized. It went up, but not too high. We were able to stabilize the prices of eggs during December, and right after New Year, prices started to go down already until now. So it's a sign of that the supply of eggs are stable right now and enough for the current demand.
The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas plans to cut interest rates by 50 basis points this year after the release of weaker than expected economic data. Sujin Kim tells us more.
The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas is studying the possibility of loosening monetary policy following the latest GDP growth figures. While GDP is a crucial indicator, BSP Governor Eli Remolona Jr. stresses that it must be assessed alongside other economic factors before any policy decision.
It's one of the data points that, especially important data point, but it's a matter of checking whether the number, the GDP number, puts us in. We look at it relative to what we call the output gap. Mm-hmm. Is it wide? Because right now we have a kind of a negative output gap. We're growing at a little bit below capacity, and whether that number widens that gap between our capacity and how much we're really growing.
If the output gap expands further, widening the distance between the economy's capacity and actual growth, the BSP may have to adopt a more accommodative monetary policy.
Well, the principle is we measure our capacity, and that will give us a number, and that's a very complicated thing. And then where are we relative to that capacity? Are we at capacity? Then that's the ideal thing, or are we above capacity? Then that tends to be inflationary. If we're below capacity, then that tends to be disinflationary.
But the output gap is just one factor. The BSP will also consider the latest inflation data set for release on Wednesday before deciding on its next move. For now, the possibility of interest rate cuts up to 50 basis points throughout the year remains on the table.
75 might be too much. Baka 50 kasi kailangan din natin ng konting policy insurance. Hindi not every meeting will see a policy rate decline.
Governor Remolona also expressed hope that the reserve requirement ratio could be lowered to 5%, a 200 basis point reduction. Soojin Kim, Bilyonaryo News Channel.
The automotive industry is expected to sell more than 500,000 cars this year. That's much higher than the 467,000 units sold in 2024. Toyota Motor Philippines Chairman Alfred T says the positive projection is due to more promising macroeconomic outlook. He predicts the gross domestic product, or GDP, growth will surpass 6% in 2025. He adds the financial sector remains good amid the continuous rise of consumer loans. A streamlined Mercedes-Benz raised by Sterling Moss and Juan Manuel Fangio has become the most expensive Formula One car sold at auction. The sleek silver W196R was fetched at Stuttgart auction for 51.16 million euros or $53 million. The buyer was said to have made the winning bid over the phone and chose to remain anonymous. The car was one of only 4 complete examples in existence. It was driven to victory by Fangio at the non-championship Buenos Aires Grand Prix in 1955.
I do think in our lifetime, none such car will be auctioned off. If I would be the owner, I wouldn't auction off because it has a race history. It was driven by the most important drivers, I would say, ever. Lewis, notwithstanding his glory, and it is the most beautiful race car ever built, and never ever will any formula allow you to build such a nice, wonderful, beautiful racing car. So that makes it extremely special. I think the engine is 8-cylinder engine and has around 295 horsepower and goes up to easily 300 kilometers an hour. As a streamliner with all the great aerodynamics, it was basically almost unbeatable in its time. Such a car is not just a car. It's not like our daily commute vehicle. It is a piece of culture, of testimonial for civilization. So it not just needs an owner, it needs a custodian.
It is the rarity of the car. There's only one car in the world available. All the rest is either, the other cars are either in museums or with Mercedes-Benz here in the collection. And this will be the only car available in my lifetime.
Still to come, LeBron James posts a heartfelt message to Anthony Davis after 80s blockbuster trade to the Dallas Mavericks. Stay with us here on Newsfeed at noon.
we believe and we hope. Part yun ng pangarap. Katapos kasi, if you go back, so mga about 10 to 15 years ago when my kids were young, pagpupunta tayo sa, diba, sa, let's say, mag-shopping, when we, check out, noon, magdadala na ako ng sarili kong bag. Tapos medyo makikipag-away pa ako kasi 10 to 15 years ago, hindi pa accepted yun. Parang sasabihin nila, ay ma'am, hindi pwede. We need to use our own plastic bag. And then kailangan kong matatense ang aking mga anak kasi medyo makikipag-away. So I will say, no,
lumalaban ka talaga.
Pero ngayon, hindi na, di ba?
They actually encourage you.
Encourage. So that's a change in 10 years. So dito, kinikilabutan ako, but we're hopeful. Kasi kailangan din ng mundo. We need this.
For all of us.
Yeah, it's for all of us and for our future.
The latest news, national issues. Are you concerned of the one-year ban rule with the impeachment, the political scene?
You know what? Kaya po kami talaga naging magkaibigan ni Pangulong Duterte. And I hope it's because of a kinship and the commonality of beliefs.
And conversations with prominent personalities.
I always question what's out there na babrand na natin na fake or conspiracy. Parang meron naman talagang katotohanan.
All these firsthand at the forefront.
Magandang gabi, ako po si Pinky Webb.
At ako naman si Corina Sanchez Rojas.
Kombinasyong Corina Sanchez Rojas at Pinky Webb. Dalawang mababahayag na subok sa tapang at talino.
Simulcast tayo sa DWAR, Abante Radio at 94.7 Mellow BFM.
Mapapanood din tayo sa Abante Teletabloid sa Sky Cable. Sa bawat issue may anggulo. At ang balita may agenda.
You're back on Newsfeed at noon. Again, the headlines. An intensifying trade war triggered by U.S. President Donald Trump, but the American leader defending his policies amid fears of global disruption. The daughter of Bilyonaryo aviation king Archie Po dies after the helicopter she was piloting crashed in Nueva Ecija. Luka Doncic thanking the Dallas Mavericks in an emotional statement after getting traded to the Los Angeles Lakers. And the winners in this year's Grammy Awards. Police Chief General Romel Marbil denies political intimidation in the implementation of the revitalized Oplan Katok. Marbil says the program is in accordance with the Comprehensive Firearms and Ammunition Regulation Act. He assures the public only gun owners with expired licenses are the targets of the program to remind them of the existing election gun ban. The COMELEC earlier called for the temporary suspension of the operation as it may be used to threaten voters. Marbil and COMELEC Chairman George Garcia will meet on Tuesday to tackle the policy. Let's find out what the weather is going to look like this week. Joining us on the line, Pag-asa weather specialist Rhea Torres. Rhea, go ahead.
Good afternoon to everyone. As of the moment, we are not monitoring any tropical cyclone within and outside our Philippine area of responsibility. However, the northeast monsoon as well as the easterlies will be affecting parts of the country over the next 24 hours. Due to the effects of the northeast monsoon, cloudy skies with light rains may be expected over Batanes, Cagayan, and Apayao. Meanwhile, generally fair weather conditions will persist over the rest of northern Luzon, particularly over Ilocos region, the rest of Cordillera Administrative Region, and Cagayan Valley. Meanwhile, for the rest of the country, the easterlies or the hot, humid air coming in from the Pacific will be continuing to affect the rest of the country and will be bringing cloudy skies with scattered rains and thunderstorms over Caraga over the next 24 hours. Meanwhile, here for Metro Manila and the rest of the country, generally fair weather conditions may still be experienced. Hot weather will be expected, especially by noontime, and isolated rain showers or thunderstorms are possible by the afternoon or the evening. For the state of our coastal waters, there is currently no gale warning raised over any seaboards of the country. However, moderate to rough sea conditions may be experienced over parts of northern Luzon. Therefore, seafarers are advised to take caution when venturing out into the sea. And that is the latest here from Pag-asa Weather Forecasting Center. This is Rhea Torres reporting.
Thank you, Pag-asa Weather Specialist Rhea Torres. Baguio City's annual Panagbenga Festival has officially begun. The 29th edition of the Flower Fest kicked off with a grand parade that featured vivid colors and upbeat music. Mayor Benji Magalong joined the revelers and said the event has come to mean something more.
We have faced difficulties, yet we stand tall, adapting to the various forms of change that were inevitable while staying deeply rooted in our identity. Panagbenga has evolved into more than just a festival. It has become a movement, a symbol of Baguio's enduring spirit, whose beautiful and rich culture, the warmth of the locals, and the time-honored traditions are meant to be shared beyond our borders.
Most events in the festival's calendar revolve on the theme of flowers and, quote, blossoms beyond boundaries. Grand street dancing and floral float parades will be held on February 22 and 23. The closing and awarding ceremonies, highlighted by an aerial fireworks display, will be on March 2. Panama isn't giving up the Panama Canal to the United States. Panama's President Jose Raul Mulino made that clear during his meeting with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. President Donald Trump has repeatedly insisted that the U.S. must retake the Panama Canal because China is allegedly operating it.
Altamente respetuosa y cordial con el Secretario de Estado.
The sovereignty of Panama is not up for debate. That is very important. There is no doubt that the canal is operated by our country and it will continue to be so. I do not think there has been a discrepancy in that. President Trump has his opinion about the Chinese presence, which will be clarified at the appropriate time in the technical instances of the canal.
Panama, though, is willing to take in more deportees from the U.S., but Washington would need to cover the cost. North Korea hitting back at U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio for calling it a rogue state. Pyongyang says Rubio's comments do not help U.S. interests and warns it will respond strongly to hostile U.S. provocations. North Korea also denouncing America's new missile defense shield plan and says it will strengthen its own military power. It is the North's first criticisms against the U.S. since President Trump returned to the White House. A stern warning from Britain's Interior Minister against those using AI to create child sexual abuse images. Yvette Cooper says there will be strong repercussions for culprits, even tech firms, if they fail to remove illegal images. Possessing, taking, making, showing, or distributing explicit images of children is already a crime in England and Wales. The use of AI tools to nudify real-life images of children will be added to the criminal offenses. So will the creation and sharing of sexually explicit deepfake videos, pictures, or audio clips.
Child abuse is one of the most vile and horrendous crimes against some of the most vulnerable people of all. But what we're seeing is that AI is now putting the online child abuse on steroids. It's escalating, industrializing the scale of some of this appalling abuse. You have perpetrators who are using AI to help them better groom or blackmail teenagers and children, distorting images and using those to draw young people into further abuse. Just the most horrific things taking place, and also becoming more sadistic in some of the images that the National Crime Agency are now seeing. That's why we need to strengthen the law. We're bringing in new laws to outlaw the use of AI models to create and exploit child abuse images, and also much stronger penalties on those who are creating these forums to teach other people to use AI for abuse.
Britain's Princess of Wales set to unveil a major project in her campaign to highlight the importance of children's early development. The Shaping Us project, through her Center for Early Childhood, provides a framework for teaching dozens of skills during a child's development from pregnancy to the age of 5. The skills are grouped into clusters, including managing emotions, focusing thoughts, and communicating with others. In her first major public message since returning to official duties, Princess Kate said the public needs to get better at acting with compassion and empathy to create a healthier and a happier society. Colorful hot air balloons dotted the skies above the Swiss Alps for Switzerland's annual Hot Air Balloon Festival. The festival, which began in 1979, draws thousands of visitors each year. It features hot air balloons in special shapes, as well as air displays and demonstrations, and a night show. Coming up, we'll take a look at the 2025 Grammy winners. Stay with us here on Newsfeed at noon. Back at Newsfeed at noon. NBA superstar Luka Doncic turns emotional as he leaves the Dallas Mavericks following a blockbuster mega trade with the Los Angeles Lakers. On Instagram, the Slovenian ace tells Mavericks fans, quote, "The love and support you all have given me is more than I could have ever dreamed of." Doncic also says he is leaving a city that will always feel like a home away from home. On his IG stories, Luka says no matter where he plays, he will do so with the same joy, passion, and goal to win championships. Lakers general manager Rob Pelinka meanwhile says the organization is grateful to Anthony Davis, whom they're trading for Doncic. Pelinka adds Davis cemented himself as a perennial all-star after spending 6 seasons with the purple and gold. Davis moves to Dallas with Max Christie and a 2029 first-round pick from LA. LeBron James also sending his well wishes to the veteran big man as their partnership comes to a shocking conclusion. On Instagram, King James told Davis to, quote, "Go crazy over there," as he moves to the Lone Star State. The 10-time All-Star is set to team up with one of LeBron's former teammates in Dallas, Kyrie Irving. Both AD and Irving won NBA championships with the King as their teammate. Reports say LeBron was surprised after learning of the blockbuster trade between the Mavs and the Lakers. The NBA's all-time scoring leader has disputed a claim, saying he had grown frustrated with Davis. The Kansas City Chiefs now in New Orleans ahead of Super Bowl 59. The AFC champs touched down at Louis Armstrong International Airport Sunday and headed toward their hotel. This year's Super Bowl will take place at the Caesars Superdome February 9. It will mark the Chiefs' fourth Super Bowl appearance in 5 years. They will face off against the Philadelphia Eagles in a repeat of Super Bowl 57, which was won by the Chiefs. In pro wrestling, no stopping John Cena and his quest for greatness after falling short at the Royal Rumble. The 60.
What is best for business is I main event WrestleMania. And what is best for business is, for the first time, I confidently say that I'm going to win a 17th championship. So I'm announcing tonight that I will compete in the Elimination Chamber. And I'm saying that because after 23 years of loyal service to this company, I feel that opportunity is earned.
Still on the Royal Rumble, from his hit live streams to rubbing elbows with sports icons, IShowSpeed makes his latest side quest in the WWE event. And before we go, the biggest stars in the music industry gather in Los Angeles for the 67th Grammys. The Album of the Year award went to Beyoncé's Cowboy Carter. As for Song and Record of the Year, both prizes went to Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us. Meanwhile, 2024 really was the year of pop. Phenomenon with Chappelle Roan winning the Best New Artist Grammy. Tay daughter Sabrina Carpenter bagged the Best Pop Vocal Album for Short and Sweet. And those are the news this hour. I'm Mai Rodriguez. Keep it here on the Bilyonaryo News Channel. Good afternoon.